early morning mist still clung to the gabled roofs of the houses nestled within the valley, a familiar shroud that promised another day of industrious quiet. Tieu Nu moved through her home with the practiced grace of someone whose life was intertwined with the rhythms of the land and the needs of her family. The first rays of sun, a soft, golden hue, began to pierce through the remaining veil of fog, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air of the modest living space. She paused, a deep breath filling her lungs, a silent acknowledgement of the new dawn. Her voice, gentle yet resonant with an underlying strength, carried through the house. "Mom, here I am," she called out, a greeting that was as much a reassurance as it was an announcement of her presence. It was the daily ritual, a quiet reaffirmation of connection, particularly in times when the shadows of the past still lingered. The day's first task beckoned. Her elderly mother, frail with age but sharp of mind, was awaiting her morning tonic. Tieu Nu moved towards the small, meticulously organized shelf where traditional herbal remedies were kept, their earthy scents mingling in the cool air. "I'm going to get the medicine, Mom," she stated, her hands already reaching for the familiar clay pots. Her mother, seated on a low wooden stool by the window, offered a quiet affirmation. "Yes, I'm getting the medicine, so just leave it there." There was an unspoken understanding between them, a language of duty and love forged over years of shared life. The elder woman's concern, however, was always for her daughter. "Mom, yes, when they come, you just give them the medicine." "Oh, I'm going to give them the medicine. For those people over there, you just rest." "No, I'm not tired, Mom, just sit down. When I'm done, I'll go. Go to the back, I'll chop the rest of the firewood over there, then I'll cook rice." Tieu Nu gently brushed aside her mother's attempts to lighten her burden, her resilience a defining trait. The needs of the household were vast, a never-ending cycle of preparation and sustenance. Chopping firewood was a physically demanding task, a testament to the self-sufficiency required in their rural existence. Each swing of the axe represented not just fuel for the fire, but warmth, cooked meals, and the enduring spirit of their home. The scent of damp earth and splitwood was a comforting perfume, an anchor in the often turbulent seas of life. The kitchen, with its traditional wood-burning stove, was the heart of their world, a place where simple ingredients transformed into nourishing meals, symbolizing continuity and care. Her own child, little Dewey, was already awake, his small voice echoing her mother's concern, but with the innocent worry of a child. "Mom, eat, baby. Take a rest, don't work too much, you have to know to take care of your health." Tieu Nu smiled, a gentle touch to Dewey's hair. It was a mirroring of the care she extended to her mother, a circle of love within their small family unit. "Mom will go get some medicine. Give them a rest. It's late at night, we'll cook dinner." "Okay, Mom, sit here and rest." "Okay, I'll go. Go out there, I'll be done in a bit. Then you go to work. Take care of your health, okay, Mom." The mention of going to work implied Tieu Nu's responsibilities extended beyond the home, a necessity in a rural economy where every effort contributed to the family's survival. Her work, whatever it might be, was another thread in the tapestry of their daily struggle and triumph. This duality of domestic duties and external employment was common for women in many Vietnamese villages, embodying both traditional roles and the evolving demands of modern life. They were the silent pillars, ensuring both hearth and livelihood. The careful balance between providing care for elders and nurturing the young, alongside earning a living, painted a vivid picture of resilience and adaptive spirit. The sun climbed higher, casting longer shadows. Tieu Nu watched her mother settle back onto the stool, a momentary respite. "Just sit down and rest, okay, Mom. Sit down and rest, okay, Mom. Then I'll give them some medicine. Okay, I'll go now." Her mother's eyes, filled with a mixture of pride and quiet concern, followed her. "Then you go work slowly, okay? It was an elderly parent's plea, a gentle reminder not to push too hard, to conserve her strength. Tieu Nu responded with a confident nod, a promise tinged with a deeper aspiration. "Yes, I know. We'll renovate this place to be beautiful." This last statement held a significant weight, a whisper of hope and transformation. The idea of renovation was not merely about improving the physical structure of their home, it was about rebuilding, about preparing for a new chapter, perhaps even for a return. The house, humble as it was, had long been a sanctuary, a witness to countless seasons and countless stories. Now, it was set to become something more. A symbol of resilience and a testament to enduring hope in the face of an uncertain future. This commitment to beautifying their living space was a potent expression of a desire for stability, for comfort, and for a fresh start, hinting at a narrative yet to fully unfold. The fields surrounding their village were a patchwork quilt of green and brown, reflecting the diligent hands that tilled them. Tieu Nu often found solace and purpose in the soil, a connection as old as her ancestors. "Be good, let Mom work," she gently urged Dewey, who shadowed her, eager to help in his own small way. The garden, a riot of nascent greens and budding flowers, was Tieu Nu's canvas, a place where life affirmed itself with vibrant tenacity. "Mom will plant lots of vegetables and flowers," she promised, envisioning a future of abundance and beauty. The act of gardening was more than just sustenance, it was a meditation, a communion with nature, a quiet strength drawn from the earth itself. As she bent to her task, her hands expertly coaxing life from the soil, Dewey's presence was a warm comfort. "Let's start, baby. If you're tired, then rest." "Yes, I'm almost done, Mom." Her dedication was unwavering, a testament to the belief that hard work laid the foundation for a better tomorrow, a belief deeply embedded in the cultural fabric of rural Vietnam. The meticulous care she put into her garden mirrored the care she extended to her family, cultivating growth and nurturing life in every aspect. Hours later, the sun beat down, urging a break. Her mother's voice, carrying across the yard, held the familiar blend of love and worry. "Mom is calling you, are you tired?" Tieu Nu straightened, wiping a bead of sweat from her brow. "No, Mom," she replied, her voice firm, despite the slight tremor in her hands. "Is that so? Then if you're tired, then go home and rest and drink some water," her mother insisted, concerned. This exchange was a common refrain, a mother's eternal vigilance over her child's well-being. "Yes, Mom, I'm not tired." Tieu Nu found a deep satisfaction in her labor, a sense of accomplishment that transcended physical fatigue. "Then let me go pound bananas to feed the geese, you go home and drink some water, okay, Mom?" Her mother, seeing her daughter's resolve, tried to offer a different, lighter task. But Tieu Nu was determined. "Okay, Mom, let me go pound bananas for the geese, let me hold them and put them away, let me have the axe, then you help me finish." The small axe, normally used for kindling, was now for preparing the geese's meal, a simple but essential chore in their small farmstead. Dewey, ever observant, wanted to participate. "Yes, I'll go pound bananas for Mom, okay, baby, drink some water." Tieu Nu offered him a small, chipped cup of water, a token of appreciation for his eager spirit. "Yes, baby, please, Mom." The simple act of preparing feed for their geese was a connection to a subsistence lifestyle, where every creature served a purpose, and every task contributed to the household's harmonious function. The pace of life in the village, though seemingly slow, was relentless. Tieu Nu's mother, a quiet observer, voiced her perpetual concern for her daughter's ceaseless energy. "Working so much like that will affect your health, do less, don't be too stingy." But Tieu Nu smiled, a genuine, unburdened expression. "I'm not tired, Mom. I'm very happy working like this, Mom. Don't worry, okay?" Her happiness was rooted in purpose, in the tangible results of her efforts, in the secure feeling of providing for her family. There was a stoic satisfaction in her labor, a sense of contentment that many city dwellers might envy, detached as they are from the direct fruits of their hands. "Then you do it, Mom. Go upstairs and cook rice," Tieu Nu urged, gently redirecting her mother back to her own domain. "Yes, I'm doing the gardening." It was then that a new presence interrupted the familiar rhythm. A man, his figure sturdy and his movements deliberate, emerged from the direction of their front yard. Tieu Nu paused, a slight question in her eyes. "Are you new here, are you, Uncle?" Her voice, usually soft, held a hint of curiosity, perhaps even a shade of apprehension. The man, whom she referred to as Uncle, turned, his gaze meeting hers. He was a familiar stranger, a figure both known and unknown, a silent sentinel of a past that was now slowly, tentatively, re-entering their lives. He was Truong. The uncle was him, the one who had been missing, the former police officer whose absence had cast a long shadow over their small household. His return was not a sudden burst of celebration, but a careful reintegration, a quiet re-entry into a life that had moved on, yet subtly awaited him. He was a man changed, the uniform of his past profession now exchanged for the simple attire of a villager, the authority of law enforcement replaced by the quiet resolve of one seeking redemption or simply peace. The mystery surrounding his disappearance and his subsequent return, devoid of his previous role, was a silent narrative woven into the fabric of their daily existence, coloring every interaction with an unspoken weight. "Oh, you're here, I'll finish the food shelf," Truong replied, his voice calm, yet with an undertone of humility. His hands, though once accustomed to gripping a weapon or wielding the authority of the law, now moved with a carpenter's precision, shaping wood into a practical and beautiful food shelf. This simple act of building, of contributing to the renovation of Tieu Nu's home, was his way of reconnecting, of rebuilding trust, of finding his place once more. "Yes, then what do you need me to do? Just tell me, if there's anything, I'll tell you later," Tieu Nu offered, a cautious step toward shared responsibility. The renovation of their home was not just an aesthetic endeavor, it was a profound symbol of their collective healing, a physical manifestation of their hope for a renewed future. Each nail hammered, each board carefully planed, was a testament to the family's resilience and their quiet determination to move forward, to create a haven where past grievances could slowly, painstakingly, be addressed and perhaps even forgiven. The food shelf, sturdy and functional, would soon hold the fruits of Tieu Nu's garden and the staples of their meals, a concrete representation of stability and provision, elements that Truong's absence had perhaps destabilized. His willingness to engage in manual labor, to serve his family in this quiet, unassuming manner, spoke volumes about the change he had undergone, a transformation far removed from the dictates of his previous life as a police officer. Later, Truong called out to Dewey, his voice softer now. "Yes, baby, come up here, I'll ask you." His engagement with the child, previously perhaps a distant memory, was another small step in his reintegration. The cabinet, now nearing completion, was indeed a testament to his craftsmanship. "Yes, yes, yes. This cabinet is so beautiful, Uncle," Dewey exclaimed, his innocent praise cutting through any lingering tension. The child's unvarnished admiration was a pure balm. Truong nodded, a flicker of satisfaction in his eyes. "Yes, yes. This is the only way to be sure." His words hinted at the meticulousness he now applied to his work, a desire for stability and security, perhaps a reflection of a life once marked by uncertainty. The craftsmanship was not merely for utility, It was for permanence, a desire to create something enduring and reliable in a world that had, for him, proven to be anything but. This dedication to solid construction could be interpreted as a symbolic effort to build a new foundation, not just for the cabinet, but for his own life within the community and family. The strength and beauty of the cabinet stood in quiet contrast to the fragility of human relationships and the unpredictable nature of fate. As the sun reached its zenith, casting long, sharp shadows, Truong straightened up, surveying his handiwork. "Is it okay now, or is it done? Now I just go and continue my work." He seemed to seek confirmation, not just of the physical completion, but of the acceptance of his efforts. Tieu Nu assured him, her tone softened with appreciation. Yes, if anything happens, you call me, uncle." This informal contract, built on trust and mutual support, was the new fabric of their relationship. With a final nod, Truong left, disappearing as quietly as he had arrived, leaving behind the solid, beautiful pieces of furniture as tangible evidence of his presence. His departure marked a transition, not an end. The work was continuous, as was his journey of reintegration. Meanwhile, the energy of the children had spilled into the small yard. A vibrant, homemade slide stood as a beacon of joy, its smooth, worn surface inviting laughter and innocent adventure. "Open it. Come out here. Where's Mom, Aunt How? I'm going home, bye-bye, Aunt." Children's voices chimed, a symphony of youthful exuberance. Aunt How, a neighbor or close family friend, was a constant presence, a thread in the community tapestry. The children clamored for the slide, their small hands reaching for its sides. "Let's go play on the slide, let's go play on the slide. Do you know how to slide? Can you climb up here? When you climb up, you can slide, take it slow. Dewey is so good, can you slide more? Can you slide more? Can you slide back? Can you get in here? Where are you? Slide slowly, slide down here. Slide down this blue color. Slide, slide gently. Let's start, let's start." Their boundless energy was a vivid splash of color against the more subdued backdrop of adult concerns. The slide, a simple pleasure, was a world unto itself, a realm of gravity-defying delight and endless imagination. Tieu Nu watched them, a soft smile touching her lips, a brief respite from the quiet weight she carried. The children, unaware of the complexities of adult life, played with an earnest intensity, their laughter echoing the unburdened joy that was so precious and fleeting. This vibrant scene was a powerful reminder of the simple, enduring beauties of life that persisted even amidst personal and societal challenges. It underscored the importance of childhood, of creating spaces for uninhibited play, a foundational element in Vietnamese culture where children are cherished and their happiness a collective priority. The children, their faces flushed with exertion and joy, continued their boisterous play. "Auntie, play with me," one little voice pleaded, tugging at Tieu Nu's skirt. She indulged them for a moment, pointing to the colorful sections of the slide. "What color is this? Red, yellow. What color is this? Yellow. What is it?" Their small fingers traced the vibrant hues, learning through play. Sweat glistened on their foreheads, tiny rivulets running down their cheeks, a testament to their boundless energy. "That's all the sweat flowing here, 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 here. Play over here, take it slow, okay?" Tieu Nu murmured, her voice a soothing balm amidst their excitement. Just then, a figure approached, hesitant yet purposeful. It was a young woman from the village, her brow furrowed with a private concern. "Hello, sister, hello, sister, do you need help?" Tieu Nu greeted her, her innate empathy immediately evident. The woman's distress was palpable. "Oh, sister, I have nausea and I vomit, I smell something fishy, I often feel nauseous. Do you have any medicine? Do you have a stomachache?" Sometimes, when I carry heavy things, it hurts a little bit. The litany of symptoms painted a familiar picture, one that Tieu Nu, as a woman in a close-knit rural community, would recognize. Women in these villages often served as informal healers, drawing upon traditional knowledge and a deep understanding of the body's rhythms. Tieu Nu's questions were direct, yet gentle, probing the most likely cause. "Oh, have you had your period this month?" "Oh, I haven't had it this month yet." "I haven't seen it yet." "Oh, I'm late." "Do you remember how many days your period is?" The woman's face, initially anxious, now creased with realization. "I also saw it a long time ago. I also don't remember exactly if it's late or not, but I also saw it a long time ago." The uncertainty, the vague memory of timelines, spoke volumes about the irregular nature of life and perhaps, the lack of precise tracking in a simpler existence. The woman, now openly admitting her fear, made her request. "Sister, if you're afraid that I'm pregnant, then you just give me a test stick and then I'll go home and try it. Let me see how it is." Tieu Nu, ever practical, wanted to gauge her experience. "If you've tried it before, have you tried it before? Have you not? Here, I'll guide you through it." As Tieu Nu retrieved a pregnancy test stick, her tone was reassuring, anticipating the social anxieties that often accompanied such a discovery, particularly if the woman was unmarried, or if the pregnancy was unplanned. "Are you married yet?" "No need to be stressed." The question, delivered with a soft inflection, acknowledged the delicate social dynamics at play in a traditional village where family honor and marriage customs still held significant weight. While Vietnamese society has become more open, the expectations surrounding marriage and children remain strong, particularly in rural areas. An unmarried pregnancy could still bring social stigma, placing immense pressure on the woman and her family. The simple question, therefore, carried layers of cultural meaning and unspoken concern. Tieu Nu then patiently explained the process,